Hey there, everybody. Annette Dion here. You know me. I'm making this video the day after the debate between Biden and Trump, and I'm reminiscing about how during the Trump years I did this thing frequently that I called cooking therapy. So I have been getting ready for a big Sicilian festival, hence the colors, the red, white, and green. Last night I ran a road race that was part of the festivities that I do pretty much every year. And afterwards, you know, the spirit of the race and the fun that we were all having, I didn't want to bust the vibe. And so I noticed that I had this really like aversion to the idea of listening to the debate. I didn't want to watch it. I was back and forth. I was like in this tug of war. Should I watch it? Should I not watch it? I knew it was going to be horrible. I knew it. I could sense it. And after the fact, I felt the collective absolute panic. I did. I was up late making lasagna. Today I'm making manicotti. And I'm gonna do this while I talk to you. As a side note, prior to COVID, I actually was doing food videos on Facebook. People loved it. I may start doing that again. And then I noticed that Luke Beasley was doing kind of like a making breakfast thing, and check that out on Luke Beasley's channel. He's part of Midas Touch. But anyway, back to the debate. Joe Biden won that debate. If you're grading his like television performance, Joe Biden didn't win that debate. But if you're judging by competency in terms of being the president of the United States, if you're judging by achievements, monumental achievements, capability, experience, aptitude, all of it, what we saw was basically, I'm not going to go into conspiracy theories, but I am going to mention that they went on and on and on. The other side went on and on and on about drugs and performance drugs and chemicals and finding the right chemical mix. And we know that this is a party of projection. So that they went on in great detail about finding the right cocktail for Biden, and that they must have been doing this and that and the other to make sure that Biden performed at his finest. They were really preparing for that. But they kept talking about the different chemical cocktails that they were working on to make sure that Biden had a good performance. And we know full well that Biden isn't into drugs, and he's got a son who's an addict. But that they went on and on and on about it. My psychic radar says they gave Trump a shot in the ass. That's all I'm going to say about that. I told you whenever I read about the debate that the pendulum kept swinging no about Trump showing up at the debate, and I warned you all that the pendulum has several times given me a no answer when the energy was just incredibly evil and negative. And that is what we witnessed last night. I want to tell everybody, this is a test of our fortitude. This is a test of our willingness to fight. And honest to God, after all of it was over, and I didn't watch the whole thing, I thought it was very difficult to watch. And when it was all said and done, and I prayed about it as I do, and you probably do too, I got this really strong message And the really strong message was, the alarm bells need to be going off in more people who want democracy's heads. And the alarm bells were going off for each and every one of us that wants to have democracy. I've read again and again and again on our democracy, and the Four of Cups has shown up again and again and again. I can't even tell you how many times I get the Four of Cups. Well, the Four of Cups indicates, you know, I've been doing readings for over 30 years, right? I know what the cards mean. The Four of Cups means there's a divine opportunity being offered that nobody's really, or the readee is not taken advantage of. There's an opportunity that's being offered, but we're not looking at it. And every time I get that card when I'm reading on our democracy and the Democrats, my heart sinks. Because we're not collectively enough recognizing that democracy is not a spectator sport. It never has been a spectator sport. It's a democracy, if we're going to look at it like a sport, like they're doing on mainstream media, if we're going to look at it that way, then we were in the game. And I think last night was a really strong call to action for each and every one of us to understand that, just like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, you know, we went into this thing with our RBG that she can't die, she can't die, she can't die, like it was all up to her, when it was really up to us to participate. And I feel like we as an American society have left our president out hanging to dry and allowed, and the media has a huge responsibility for taking the truth to the American people. So it's not just our inactivity, it's a combination of things, right? See, here's my manicotti mix, it's a combination of things. It's oh, I forgot to add the Parmesan. It's up to all of us, which is why I started Grassroots of Democracy. And it's not my group. Oh my gosh, how many times I'm just the person that organized the group, right? It's not my group. We're a democracy. It's all of our group. It belongs to all of us. I'm marching in a few parades next week to get the message about grassrootsofdemocracy.com. I'm not telling you that to like toot my horn. It's not my horn. It's everybody's horn, right? Hang on while I get the Parmesan. Think about it. Just think about it. Whose race is this? It's not Joe Biden's race, it's our race. We have to stand up. We have to rise up. Our freedom, all of our freedoms are at risk. Donald Trump stood up there last night acting like a petulant bully. The expressions on his face, if you just took one screenshot, would make you want to puke. It would make you feel like you wanted to punch him in the face. Feel like. I'm not one about, you know, like hiding your emotions. Hang on a second. So, I don't fake it. You know, and I encourage you all to not fake it. If you're upset about last night, then show you're upset. Then, you know, and the other message from the guides was that it's gonna take people getting really scared and really freaked out before they'll do something. If you have a child and your child's life was at risk, you would stop everything, or any kind of family member, I suppose, or somebody that you loved. You would stop everything. You would stop dead in your tracks and go, whoa, everything out of my way. I have a child or a loved one's to save. That's from a universal cosmic standpoint. That is what happened last night. We are in an emergency. Our democracy is right now hanging by threads. But I want to tell you that I've always been the kind of person who was a, I always say about Sagittarians, true blue Sagittarians, we're ridiculously optimistic. I know Joe Biden is a Scorp with Sag rising. I'm a Sag with Scorp rising. Moon and Taurus, same. I get it. I get him. I really understand what's going on there. If you were the President of the United States who had saved our country's democracy and done as much as Joe Biden has done, stutter and all, to help America to remain a democracy, to stop this spread of white supremacy and Nazism, to bring the world together, to save democracies, who had spoken on the world stage many, many times, who had devoted his entire life to public service and to be brutalized. I don't know how much of it he heard, but to be brutalized by the media, by the right-wing Russian propaganda, extremism, telling the whole world Biden doesn't have it. He's gonna flub. He's gonna this. He's gonna that. He's too old. He has, this and that. He has all these problems. No. Joe Biden has saved the United States of America from falling into a fascist regime state. Now, after last night, if you don't feel scared, and if that fear doesn't motivate you rather than paralyze you, check your pulse. There are countless things, small and large, that each one of us can do. But none of us, we're in this together. None of us gets out of this without participating in some way. And the participation can be dire, or it can be absolute elation. Absolute elation. It's up to us. I know that we have it in us. I know that we can do it. One bad performance by Joe Biden does not warrant throwing him out. Can you imagine being that impatient with a child? Oh, you didn't do good in that class that one time. You're done. Forget about college. Forget about anything. Forget about being a success. Or, I live in the part of the country where, we've had some amazing sports teams. How many times the Patriots were like, that's it. There's no way. They're not coming back from this. It's not happening. How many Super Bowls? 6 or 7? Thanks to Tom Brady and Belichick, but we won't get into sports right now. The Boston Red Sox. Took them nearly 100 years. Something like that. To finally win the World Series. Did we quit? No. We were to reverse the curse. We were really like, okay, let's do this. This is a time in America. We have to get excited about being together. We have to get excited about saving democracy. I urge you wholeheartedly, from the depths of my being, do not be discouraged. The number one way that tyranny happens, and CNN fell victim to this really, is to submit. That's the number one danger. That's the number one thing for us not to do, is submit. and what CNN submitted to last night was to forego all sense of journalism, all sense of telling the truth, and they opted to highlight the lies. And honest to God, I think that Biden just didn't know what to do with that. I think that there's a Heather Cox Richardson, I can't find it at the moment, in her newsletter today, has a term for it. It starts with a G, and you can look it up. And I think it's good that I'm not remembering it at the moment. I hadn't heard the word before. But it's actually a technique where you bombard the person with so many lies. And Joe Biden has a stutter, and they took advantage of that. They took advantage of the fact that he would be flabbergasted and personally insulted. Donald Trump was up there calling Joe Biden a convicted a felon, some kind that he was up there saying the convicted felon was up there telling Joe Biden that he was a felon. Joe Biden is a church-going man of great faith, has had many meetings with the Pope. And are we really going to stand for Donald Trump without doing anything in response, saying those kinds of things about our president who represents our democracy that we're all part of? Hell to the effing no. We're not going to stand by. We're not going to be silent. The debate last night was a complete and total revelation of what we are facing right now. We are in the midst of an attempted authoritarian takeover that's being led by our enemies. And our enemies have now merged with them. Merged with Vladimir Putin. So I'm going to finish my manicotti and then I'm on to making Italian cookies. But what I want you all to know is that I really believe we can do it. And I really believe that last night was a wake-up call that we would not have had if Biden hadn't been subjected to that. Because now we know the enemy more than ever. Now we see the enemy's biggest weapon is lies. And if you're of the spiritual persuasion, and most of you are, or you probably wouldn't watch my channel, Satan has been called the father of lies. And Satan also has been known to hide. And I want to tell you something about all the people. Evil has a way of hiding. All the people, all the psychics, all the people. I mean, I had the disclaimer that when the pendulum says no to something not happening, sometimes it's reading the negativity of the energy, and I did point that out. And I don't know if it could have been any more negative. It was horrid. Evil hides. In my 30 plus years of working as a professional psychic, I can look at a few things that were pretty big that I missed. Evil hides. And one was, the one that stands out most in my mind is that I didn't think Putin would invade Ukraine. And I'm not the only psychic on YouTube that said that. And that I kept reading that Donald Trump was, wasn't going to show up, but I figured that could just be pointing to the negative energy. The pendulum kept saying, no, he's not going to show up. That was another. And just between you and I, there aren't many that I really, really miss. Evil hides. The light reveals it. So before I go, let me wipe my hands. Before I go, I just want to let you know that I'll be back. And we'll talk more. But I want to get my main points out. This is a call to action. Last night was a call to action. We cannot, who are we to think, oh, we don't have to do anything. We can't do that. We can't rely on one man who's been holding up the world like Atlas, right? We can't depend on one man. So I use the Ruth Bader Ginsburg, reference, because we were all like, oh, Ruth, save us. No, it's up to all of us to participate. Or we have North Korea. We have a suppressive, murderous regime for a government. The choice is ours. Now is the time. Let's get up our energy and let's do this. Because we can. We've got this. At 5 o'clock Eastern time, I'll be live streaming PNN 2 hours early, because as you can see, there's a festival, St. Peter's Fiesta, and the festival is going to be kind of loud tonight. It's going to be happening, and the party's tomorrow night. So I'll see you at 5. I know I don't upload too many pre-recorded videos, but this is really important, and I'll do more of that in the future. Please support my channel, and please come so I can see you at 5 p.m. All right, namaste. Keep the faith. This is just the beginning, but we got to amp it up right now. All right, bye.